All right, hi team. So welcome to week 7 of Principles of Design. So this is harmony and unity. This is just one of many of our principles of design. So harmony is where all parts of a visual image relate to and complement each other. It pulls pieces of visual images together and can be achieved through repetition and rhythm. Patterns or shapes can help achieve harmony. By repeating patterns in an interesting arrangement, the overall visual image comes together. So we have the repetition of harmony of our peacock feathers. Then we have balance. Balance is where anything is of visual stability and achieved by placing equal or visual or actual weight on opposite sides of an imagery central axis. So we can see that we have a blue ottoman in the middle, and we have two like wingback chairs and with the same patterned pillows. We also have balance of inside the bookcase. We have equal weight on all sides, tiering all the way to the top where we have just one image itself. So there are 3 types of balance. We have symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial, which we will be going into further. Symmetrical balance is traditional or formal spaces call for symmetrical balance where the space is evenly split into 2 sides that mirror each other. So, for example, 2 chairs on either side of a coffee table can be said to be symmetrically balanced. This kind of balance is easy to achieve as design elements are repeated on either side. So if you are not careful, this kind of balance can become monotonous and boring. So we have to be kind of careful when it comes to that. Moving on, we now have asymmetrical balance. This is where visual weights of lines, colors, and forms and textures are balanced without an exact duplication. So it's not as ordered as symmetrical balance can be more complex and interesting. For instance, a sofa can be balanced by placing 2 chairs on either side. Here we have a collage wall, which is not symmetrically balanced, but it is asymmetrical because we don't have the same end table on the opposite side of the couch. And also on the collage wall, not everything is the same, so it is asymmetrical. Now we have radial balance. Radial balance is achieved when there is a central focal point with other elements radiating from around it. An example would be a round dining table with chairs arranged around it. There is a lot of repetition of form, texture, and color. So here is radial, where everything is, the center focus is our coffee table, and it's kind of in that circular motion. Third, we have proportion. Proportion is the ratio between the size of one part to another. The proportion is truly relative and requires the interior designer to understand the interactions between objects within a three-dimensional space. Here is another visual image of proportion, and also asymmetrical balance. And I say asymmetrical is because if you look on either side of the bookcases, they have all the same elements, but they are different and they are placed differently. But everything is balanced proportionately. There is equal weight on either side of the fireplace and the mantle, along with the TV. Now we have scale. Scale refers to the relationship between 2 or more objects. One has a commonly known size. Scale implies the comparison of objects where the actual size of one object is known, and proportion relates to the general size of two objects without information regarding their actual size or scales. So scale is being demonstrated in this image, where we have a really tall wingback chair, and that with that scale in comparison is the mirror. Another scale is a bedroom or a living room in this case, and everything is equal weight on either side, and the windows are placed appropriately with that same scale, so the windows fit the room. Then we have contrast. Contrast is use of opposite or unlike elements to emphasize differences and add interest. Contrast can define your focal point and prevent your interior from looking too uniform. The challenge is to balance contrast so as to maintain a sense of overall unity. Add contrast in a small dose, but also be careful not to overdo it and also upset the sense of harmony and parts in the overall unity. So we have contrast, and also from doing our color theory, we have our complementary colors, red and green. Everything is equal balance and very nice contrast throughout this entire room. We have light dark contrast. It is based on the use of different brightnesses and tones of values of the colors. All colors can be lighted with white and darkened with black, white, or red brown. Warm cold contrast. Warm colors make large rooms cozier. Cool colors help make a small room seem larger. So using cold-warm contrast brings balance to a room. And then we have contrast of saturation. This is a contrast between luminous and dull colors. Colors can be subdued by the addition of black, white, gray, or complementary colors. Unit 5 of dominance and emphasis. Dominance may seem similar to proportion, but is actually more to do with the visual weight of an element. So the dominant part of a composition is the one that stands out the most or appears closest to you. So we have the shelves and the staircase, which have that emphasis of dominance, but in actuality it is the greenery that stands out the most. So that is the element that is the most dominant. So there are 3 stages of dominance: dominant, subdominant, and subordinate. So with dominance and emphasis is the primary object area, the one with the most visual weight, usually appearing in the foreground. We call this the focal point. This is the first thing that you notice when you walk into a room. So dominance, emphasis. Looking at this picture, what stands out the most to you? It is the actual painting. So, and then we have the subdominance, would be the red couches, and the subordinate would be kind of this domino looking item. So with rhythm is defined as a continuous, recurrent, or organized movement. It is developing patterns into a connected whole. We can create rhythm in so many different ways. By repetition, this is achieved through repeated shapes, colors, textures, or patterns. Alteration of shapes, colors, textures, patterns, and continuous movement of natural textures and patterns of the earth. So the Sahara Desert has the texture of the repeated patterns. An orchid lily has repeated patterns. Rhythm by gradation is completed by increasing or decreasing one or more qualities. It is suggested onward motion by successive change toward a goal. So we have different sized candelabras. We have stacking tables. And how about your canisters with flour, sugar, and maybe something else in another jar in your kitchen? So that's rhythm by gradation. Then we have rhythm by transition. This is often subtle, leads the eye in a gentle and continuous uninterrupted visual flow from one area to another or object to another. Curved lines are a sign of transition. So here we have rhythm by transition of the doorway, the staircase, which is radial, and rhythm by transition of this couch, curved lines. Then we have rhythm by radiation. All parts of the composition are balanced and repeated around the center. Petals of a daisy, chairs around a table, circular objects such as plates, bowls, lights, fixtures, textile patterns, hanging plants, and chandeliers. They're not used as frequently as other types. So in closing, I would like to see, where do you see rhythm in Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night? Do you see rhythm anywhere? I see lots of rhythm all throughout this painting. It's beautiful, one of my favorite. I can't wait to have this discussion with you in class, where I will be bringing up this PowerPoint and be talking through what each of these different principles of design are, and then asking you, where do you see rhythm in this painting? I hope you're having a great night, and we'll talk to you this week.